They go to school. They're in school. So they're at Ocean. So, yeah. Gotta speak up. Mrs. Acting Mayor.
Council. It's
Yeah, Mrs. Mayor. Mrs. Mayor.
Okay, so good evening. I'm sure you can all tell that I am not the mayor, but I am here in his absence, and so we're going to start our informal session, and I'm going to turn it over to the manager.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. It's good to be here today. We have an agenda for you with 7 items, but I am convinced that we can get through all 7.
Can we really do a coup d'etat now that the mayor's not here? I mean, can we take over, do like the French and lop their heads off and make it ours, huh?
School board elections.
Can we do that? Can we reverse everything that he's been a part of?
Wow, that's almost 30 years. We'll be here for a long time.
We'll be here all night.
We'll be here for a couple days.
He said reverse everything. Jeez.
Actually, he'd be here by the time his car fixed.
Madam Vice Mayor, members of council, tonight we have for you a series of updates, presentations, follow-ups, and some things to come. First, we have, after council interest, we have John Ramstein, who will give us an update from MEAC tournament. And it's a good update. It just, we continue to see successes, lessons learned, opportunities to improve. But I do believe that the presentation that you'll get from John is a very good one. And then in the area of things to come, the Virginia Arts Festival, Rob Cross will give us an update. And I think everyone has a brochure in front of them of all of the events that are occurring throughout the region. We also have an update with a polling place change, and Stephanie is here for us, with us once again from the registrar's office. And then Richard Broad will talk with us a little bit about SIPSA and waste management. You are well aware that by 2018, SIPSA as we know it will be transformed. So what we do is provide updates to council of where we are in terms of the changes to SIPSA. And then I think David Freeman gets to do something a little fun tonight as he talks about some of the innovations in parking as well as fleet. And so, Madam Vice Mayor, I would turn it back over to you for council concerns and interest.
Thank you so much. You have always packed an ambitious agenda. I'm glad tonight's no different. So we'll get right to council interest. Andy, do you have anything?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
I have a couple things, and Peter talked to me today, some concerns, and I'm sure you've heard them too, about what's happening in the Stewart School. We're going to communicate where we are and continue to communicate.
Yes.
Periodically.
Well, wait a minute, because that's something I want to talk about. What does that mean? Where are we as far as we put out this RFP, and we had 2 people that came back that were interested, and then I haven't heard anything since other than one left.
So we've given some counsel to the developers so that they can develop proposals that are more responsive to the needs of the community and the building itself. And so we're looking for updated proposals by mid-April. That's the schedule. From there, we'll review them with the civic leagues. From there, we'll select the developer by mid-May, and the plan is to get started on redevelopment by October. So that's the schedule.
So in the interim, we have a lot of problems with vandalism and some unsavory activity. So not only for preserving this building, but also the safety of the neighborhood. I think police have started, but I think many of you read the email where they called the police and the police said they didn't know who owned the building. And so didn't know, how it was going to be, who was responsible. So, I mean, this is a very important building and very important to this neighborhood. And so we have let this go too long.
what I would add, Dr. Webley, is General Services are responsible for securing the building. Without letting too much out in terms of police investigation, there were more than just vandals. We actually had some folks that went in there, took some copper wiring and so forth out there.
Air conditioners, I think, too, right?
Air conditioners have copper coils in those single units, and we're working very closely with the police department and personal communication with the chief a couple of times on this issue. And so we know they've stepped up with patrols, and in the evening we actually have security out there at night as well. So so I wanted to make sure it was understood that this was not just a vandalism. This is a little bit more professional work. And that Chief Goldsmith, he and I talked, he's going to.
Is the building secure so children
Yes.
can't get in it?
Yes, we went around and secured the building the first time, but apparently what happened was the same, without letting too much information out, we went through and were able to get in through, I guess, an air conditioning unit that they had pulled out. But I sent folks back around when I went to this morning to go back and secure the building.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just chatted with Andy. Same thing at Meadowbrook. Have we made a definitive decision and communicated to the neighbors what we're doing there?
Yes,
We
and
have
it was based on the council direction that we would have
open space.
open space in the fire station. That's it.
That's
That's it.
put to bed. And they're all aware. Okay. One other thing, I'd like to get an update on where we are with Cottage Line sand situation. I know that was on the front burner for a long time, and I know it went up to VMRC and it's on hold, but meanwhile, I suspect sand's building up again, and did we get report back on that?
Sure, and the city attorney, Bernard Pishko and Ron Williams, have been working with the community, and I think that when we give you an update, it'll be very positive movement that's been occurring.
Okay.
We have a committee that's been established with representatives of each of the civic leagues and the federal agencies. It has been meeting monthly. This first quarter of this year, actually, we had 60 days between it. They met in January. They meet again on Friday, and we'll be prepared to give you an interim report about what the path forward is, realistically in May or June.
Have there been any discussions at those meetings about the newest sand mitigation projects that the city has recently done?
Yes.
And the issues with it? Okay.
Okay, a couple more quick things. We're still working on our city-owned property audit and being efficient in what we're renting and what we could be renting or whatever. Is that going to be forthcoming? I know you're in budget season, so I mean, it's not a, what's the status on that?
Sure, Councilman, we have done an analysis of the properties that we own, the properties that are city properties that are leased, and the properties that we're renting. And so what we're doing is looking at opportunities with all of our leases to make sure that we don't lock ourselves into 5-year agreements when there are opportunities for us to consolidate and get out of spaces that we lease.
We have space where we could move in.
Yes.
Was that just kind of an ongoing thing, or?
It is an ongoing thing, and with the budget presentation next month, we do want to talk a little bit about what we're attempting to do in FY16 related to that.
Okay, and the last thing, and I just got an email today, are we pursuing, and I'm talking to the wrong guy here, but ultra-high-speed internet in the city? I'm not quite sure what that means. Some of you smart guys do, but I'm hearing from people that I respect that that needs to be available.
We are.
Wireless.
We are.
Wireless.
Right.
Fiber.
No,
Not Fios,
not
no.
Fios, wireless.
Oh,
Just wireless.
High-speed wireless.
Nashville has it.
Okay.
They probably referenced Nashville in the email to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beach is trying to. So what are we, where, is that
Yes, there's
a thought, or is it in
No.
committee, or is it in?
There's actually, and I think it's fine to say this, so TCC has been discussing with the cities, various cities, opportunities for us.
Who has?
The Tidewater Community College has been talking with the various communities about opportunities to work together but also what we've been doing over the years, we've been setting aside money. So what we're going to do is both look at the opportunities for a regional approach as well as continue to see what we can do here in the city. So yes, we're
At
on
some point after the budget, I'd really kind of like to know what that involves.
Okay.
I'm not, not too up on that, but it sounds like something we need to get.
I agree.
Take a bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have.
Just very quickly, Bernard, I appreciated the decision and opinions you had regarding having DEQ come down here. I'm fully aware that we as a city are not able to legislate or mandate any decisions regarding coal dust. My thought behind asking DEQ was to come down here so that our citizens could get some answers on what exactly is the coal dust situation in our area, what that would look like, that coal plant would look like if they weren't grandfathered in, and whether or not an independent study needs to be done. So I didn't want to imply that that was, and for DEQ to be confused as to why they were being brought down here. So I thank you for looking into that, but I hope, Paul wanted us not to meet with them this week because he wasn't here, but he said that we would have them come down in April.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Marcus, I know we initially had on our agenda to have possibly a joint meeting with Norfolk Public Schools. Is that still going to happen? Where?
Yes, so when we communicated with the school system, I believe we were trying to have them in March. They asked, could they wait until they did their budget deliberations and have the joint meeting in April?
Do we have a date or no?
So we have 2 meetings scheduled for April the 14th and the 28th.
But you're presenting the budget on the 14th.
On the 14th, yes. So it's the pleasure of the council in terms of what would work better.
Couldn't we do it on an off Tuesday?
Right, the third Tuesday was set aside for meetings like that.
Could we, I mean, I think we need to have a pretty frank discussion.
I think we need to do this sooner than later.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is either you'd like to do it the next time that we meet on the 14th, or have a meeting.
Do it on a non.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it should be just dedicated to
Set
that.
aside 2 hours so we're not pushing.
Okay. So the third
I would ask
Tuesday.
it not be done, not be the first Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's, yeah, I can't do either.
Third Tuesday, okay.
The other thing is, when we had discussion on the work that St. Mary's was doing as far as, addressing the needs of those persons who needed to be fed and who are in poverty, and their numbers have increased. So where are we as far as assisting St. Mary's to the point that we can actually find out what their needs are? Because from the last report, if I'm not mistaken, it has almost doubled. The reports that I'm getting, they're swamped.
Right. So we're working with James Rogers
Okay.
to, and I think the council and the mayor a few months ago brought that up as trying to close that gap. And so through resources that we have in the neighborhood department, we're working through that.
One more thing, Mr. Riggs, I missed one pedestrian crossing at a major intersection, and that one was Lafayette Boulevard at Tidewater Drive. And thank you for your report back to me, as well as I'll be sending an email to you and Mr. Brown on a couple of potholes. It has the measurements, and the constituent has gone out and measured the pothole and gave me the exact locations in the Oakwood area. So I'll get that information to you. And thank you so very much. I think that's it for me. Yes.
I can't tell you how excited I am to see milling and paving signs appearing on our roads, particularly Tidewater Drive and Northampton Boulevard, which have been in major need of resurfacing. I do like to add, and I don't know if it's on the list, council used to get a list of all the roads that would be resurfaced. We haven't received that in a while. But the area of Kempsville Road between Northampton and Lake Taylor Hospital, that road is in complete disrepair and needs to be resurfaced. And I am a little bit of an expert on this because when I joined council, I did the whole day tour of Public Works, and you guys showed me that on that tour. And I can tell you that that road, you don't need to go out there and do any measurements or analysis of the surface of that. And I understand that snow and ice did not help at all, but these are roads that were already needing. So I'm not sure if that section of the rest of Kempsville Road up to the Virginia Beach border is fine. It's just between Lake Taylor Hospital and Northampton Boulevard, particularly on that turn right there. That's you can't get through there without a lot of rumbling through there. But Tidewater Drive and Northampton were in desperate need of that. And on top of that, we do have quite a bit in the city that needs of line repainting. They've obviously with the snow, and it's probably even made it worse. But if there's some point that we can get kind of an update of where we are with that, I know you have to wait on temperatures, but like what your plan is, what roads you plan on addressing. I know I've sent you guys a couple lists over the last couple months, and I know you're just waiting for that warm weather, but where we are with it, because citizens do bring that up to us on a constant basis about where we are with it. So, okay, this one is starting to get to me, and I'm hoping that maybe some other council members will share this concern. I would like us to get an update on the PPEA. There's a lot of rumors and things that are starting to fly out of the school system. The most recent one is that Ocean View is going to have to get cut because they're running so far over the budget on the other 3 schools that they're not going to be able to afford doing this. And I'm not one for rumors, but I would like a presentation on what best value and value engineering means, and how that relates to our schools, because there is a list that I've seen that has specific items on it that are recommended cuts to our schools as they move forward to reduce the cost. And it's my understanding that when we did the PPA, that there should be some cost savings because you're building so many schools at once that you're reducing the cost of building material. But if we're going back and we have a developer, a contractor who is now asking to reduce other things, I'd like to understand what that is. I want to know what the school system's involvement is in this, that when something changes on a plan, how are they involved? How is it communicated to the school system? Who in the school system is involved in the conversations with that? I just received a message from somebody that said that they are recommending to remove the walking path around Ocean View. Now, we've gone out to the community and we've told them that this is one of the features of that school, but it's on a best value engineering list to be reduced. And so, or that sidewalks are going from 5 feet to 2 feet, or pathways to schools. I think it's important for us to understand that, because if we move forward with this and we're getting cheap schools, not cheaper schools, then I have some major concerns with that. I didn't vote for a PPA in which we now have a contractor who's going to come back and try to cut corners on things. I heard we're looking at not using steel in some places. These are important to me. I think it's important to folks in Compostela just as much as it is in Ocean View. I understand that there is cost savings that need to happen with this, but when there's a meeting that's held and I brought up a concern about furniture and the SB Ballard representative comes back and says, well, you need to go back and tell the councilman he needs to find more money at city council to pay for furniture, I have an issue with that. Okay, that's not what I should be hearing from the company that we have put a lot of faith in building the future for our children. And so we have asked the city to take this over. We need to make sure that the school system is completely involved in any decision that is made that is impacting education, the instructional side of it, from furniture to technology. You don't cut furniture budgets so that you have more money for technology. If there's a line item in there for a certain amount, I want to see that. We have not been presented that. And as far as I know, there's folks in the school system that have not seen the contract and don't know some of those line items of where money or how money is supposed to be spent. So I understand that we gave permission for the city to take this over, and I trust that we have guys that are looking out for this and women that are looking at this. But at the same time, I'm also concerned that there's a developer who may be looking to cut corners in places for these schools. And I know, Terry, you brought up some of those concerns initially when we were discussing this, but now that we have groundbreaking ceremonies and we're going out there with these wonderful designs and promising things to the community, we need to make sure that that happens. And I don't want coming back here in 5 or 6 months and we find out that we need $5 million more because we've gone over budget here, or we're going to have to cut this, this, and this.
Sure.
Okay, and so we need updates on, this is too big of a project. Taxes were raised for this. The citizens are expecting nothing but quality on this. And so we need to make sure that we are updated on this on a regular basis because it impacts all of our wards. Every single one of us has to go back out to the community. And if I find out that the walking trail has been taken away from Ocean View, I'm the one that has to eat that and go back to the community. They're going to have to say, well, you showed us slides. The city came here and showed us slides with the walking trail, but now it's been cut because we couldn't come up with $200,000 more because they've run over their costs with construction.
Sure. So, Councilman Smeagol and Council, we'll give you an update. All this is news to me. We have a guaranteed maximum price.
And it is happening, City Manager, because I'm getting the bulk. That's why I asked you about the joint meeting with Norfolk Public Schools, because I've been, tasked with, when they go to pick out certain materials, they're being told that they can't get the materials. They have to go to something that's cheaper. As far as what was initially on the design of things. And so there's lots of confusion, not only with the principals of the schools, because they're having to make decisions and they're being told something totally different than what was initially presented to them. And if we're having to go to cuts, then I don't want to be blinded by what is presented and what we said we were going to do. So that is an issue. And that I've heard as well, Councilman Smeagol, that cheaper materials are being used.
Sure. We'll give you an update.
Okay.
Thank
you.
I actually have, I'm glad you brought up schools because it brought something else to my attention. But there was a situation at Mount Lebanon Baptist Church this week, and there were some cars that were broken into, and the police were called, and it took about somewhere between 20 and 40 minutes or so for them to get a response in terms of having someone come over. And from what I understand from the pastor of the church, once he did some update and follow up with the chief and his staff, he was made aware that there was another more serious incident, that the police, there were two, if I'm not mistaken, more serious incidents within, give or take, a 2-mile radius of the church that were being handled and took precedent. But no one said that to the individuals who called. And I know we can't give out, vital information, but sometimes when we have calls from communities where we have where maybe there is a issue of trust between the community and the police. If there's something else that's going on and you can't make the response right away, is there a way that we can that 911 can communicate that to the individuals who call, or call them back and say, we're still, we still have your call in queue. There's another issue of whatever you can say, just to let the individuals know that their call is being handled, and someone will be out to see them, speak to them, or whatever. Because then what happens is one person's call, they start waiting, and then I'll call, and and we don't want to bog down 911 with multiple calls on the same issue when there's a legitimate reason why it's taking a minute or two for their issue to get handled. So maybe a little bit more communication from if there is a situation like that, and it was a legitimate situation, but the frustration came in just because no one knew what was going on until after the fact, and so that just might be something to work on. And I spoke to, when we had the Richard Bowling groundbreaking, there was some issue regarding the name of the school. And one of the statements that was made to me was that we had not sent a formal request to the school board asking for the name to be modified. I don't call it a name change. They may call it a name change. I don't see it as a name change. The Richard Bowling Elementary at Broad Creek, to me, is a modification. But can we send something to the school board, a formal request asking for a modification in the name to Richard Bowling Elementary School at Broad Creek? And if they want, and then whatever their process is in terms of going out into the community and that kind of thing, we just want to make sure that the public is involved. But also, I was told that we needed to make that.
Council doesn't have to make the request because the school board adopted a policy on renaming any school that's being reconstructed or repurposed, and it kicks off a certain timeline once it starts being constructed. So the school board should follow their own procedures with that, which would kick off community forum, community conversation about renaming. Now, if council wanted to endorse a name, then that would be something separate. Because you can get some crazy names when you involve the whole community.
And that's what I mean. I don't see it as a change. I see it as simply a modification because it's Richard Bowling Elementary School already. But I don't know. It was a member of the school board that told me that. So
my school was almost called the Global Academy of Scholars, and the abbreviation for that was GAS. So that would, you never know.
Oh no, that's not good. So whatever the procedure, if they don't need if they need something, and the council agrees, can we get them something? If they don't need something, but to me it's just a modification, it's not a complete name change. So can we get some clarification on what they actually consider it, and then we can proceed. And then the last thing was Judge Jackson, and I don't know what our policy is on this. I don't recall that there's been another judge that has retired since I've been on council, but there might have been. But Judge Gwendolyn Jones Jackson retired, and there was a retirement ceremony for her. It was a function put together by her husband. But I was very disappointed that there was not a letter or anything from the council at her ceremony. No proclamation, no nothing. And so I would like it if we could do a proclamation and invite.
Can I jump in on that? Other judges have retired. But Judge Jackson was a historic figure as an African-American female.
And
So there is a precedent. To say there's a precedent there is a precedent in the sense that she's a historic figure. That being said, Friday, if we can get something together, Friday, her sister is speaking at the Attucks at the Joseph Green Lecture Series. And it would be great if we used that evening to perhaps honor her also. I know that I'm doing the opening remarks welcoming on behalf of the city, but perhaps if you're there, Madam Vice Mayor, and the rest of council, we could use that as a way to also honor her if we can get something together. It's just a thought. I may have blown the surprise if you do something, but it is something that really should be acknowledged because she is a historic figure for our city.
And there was a state proclamation from the governor or whatever they do with the state level, and I just was a little disappointed that there was nothing from the council acknowledging her
We can repair
her
that.
tenure. Yeah. She didn't say anything. It was just me, and I just thought it was.
Oh, I think you're right 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't invited to the party.
That's all I have, Mr. Manager. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Very good. So thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, members of council. So we have John Ramstein who's going to come up and give us an update on the latest MEAC basketball tournament. The interesting thing is that John's going to speak a lot about what happened inside the scope. But I think the real action actually happened in City Hall as we had a take on the manager free throw competition where LaTanya White went 9 for 10 and won it all, and Carl Cox went 8 for 10 and came in second place. It was three of us. And if there's anything, Councilman Smeagol or members of council that we need to do in terms of school construction, I think I threw up enough bricks that maybe.
Well, how many did you make?
Well, that's
You haven't told
what
us
Winter
what
said
you
is
made.
that if I say how many I made,
If any.
it wouldn't push anybody to look at this on YouTube. So you have to actually go see it to see. But it was just a little bit behind. Okay? So having said that, so second to the manager's free throw competition, there was the MEAC.
Williams, members of council, nice to be here. I saw a lot of you up at the games during the tournament. MEAC is Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, so 13 historical African American universities. You can see the Savannah State women there, the champions of the women's bracket, and the Hampton University team, champions of the men's bracket. Hampton had the distinct honor of playing undefeated #1 team in the nation in the first round of the NCAAs and requited themselves fairly well. They covered the spread anyway, so they...
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. MEAC's been about partnerships. We have a lot of them. Visit Norfolk, downtown Norfolk Council, local hotels and restaurants, all of our businesses, MacArthur Mall, schools, military, are all part of our partners during this tournament. And we also have internal partners. The chief and his staff cover traffic. David's folks park all these people over the full week. This was the end of a 3-year agreement, so we have a new 3-year agreement in place that will take us through 2018. You can see how MacArthur helped us with the advertising for Gladys. We try to bookend events around the MEAC, so Gladys was going to open the tournament on Sunday. Unfortunately, she got sick and couldn't play, so she's coming back in May, but we still sold a bunch of tickets for that show, and the MEAC folks were very grateful that we brought her in. And then on the...
Have we done a bunch of refunding for that show?
Probably about 200 tickets.
Okay. What was the total?
1,200 sold, so we're at about 1,000 still that are going to...
And we can reissue those?
We can reissue those, and we're going to advertise between now and May 29th, so we'll sell a bunch more. So she'll be back. She was very apologetic. She was here in town and physically was ill. So you can see the MacArthur Center displays besides the Gladys things. The MEAC tournament put their uniforms up for all the schools, and people were taking their pictures at the mall. So the Gladys Night Show was, and the Junior Walker All-Stars and the Winstons, who were at the Attucks Theater, those were both city-sponsored events that we produced, 7 venues produced in conjunction with the MEAC tournament. There were a lot more events than this taking place around the city, but what did I do, LaShonda? Oh, sorry. There are a lot more events taking place around the city just besides those. Lots of parties and all sorts of after-show things. The college fair, thank you to Lori Crouch for her hard work on the college fair. We had over 320 students come. All of the schools are represented there so that they can talk about going to college in the MEAC, along with our military. And these are the numbers, very simple numbers for the 3 years that MEAC was here. Gross sales, which are ticket sales, and the number of tickets sold. And you can see significant growth in this tournament over the 3-year period. So that's good from an economic perspective. You know, admission tax is 10% of that number. But more importantly, it's telling us that the MEAC people, the alumni, they like coming to this city. They enjoy coming here. We've got a 45-year-old arena, and it doesn't matter. They're coming here to see the games and have fun and shop. As I said, 13 member institutions, people traveling from all over the country. They love coming here for many factors, not just basketball. The mall is very busy, as were all our restaurants during the tournament. Tony DiFilippo isn't here tonight, but I will get the figures on the hotels, which were packed for the entire week. From an economic impact perspective, I think this event has been a big win for the city. The MEAC schools and the administration are very happy to be here in Norfolk. As you know, the MEAC offices are here in Norfolk. They bought their own building, so they're invested in this town. There's still a lot of room for growth, ticket sales, things we can do better to make the tournament more exciting, but the future for this is really bright over the next 3 years. So I told you I'd be brief.
Thank you. I can add also, we booked the Sheraton as our as a hotel for our out-of-town guests, and we did that back in September, and they struggled to find 9 rooms. I didn't realize it was MEAC weekend until they told me they couldn't find me any rooms, and they struggled to find 9 rooms for us that week, just for Friday and Saturday night back in September for the MEAC, and I was there Thursday through Sunday, and it was packed. It was just jumping, and the mall was just jumping. And they had all the layout in the hotel. The staff had all their MEAC shirts on, and everywhere you went downtown, everybody just really embraced the tournament. So it really was a great feel for the MEAC, and folks from out of town should have felt very welcome, because wherever you turned, there was MEAC everything. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, John. And our hope, and Vice Mayor, members of council, is that folks will actually fall in love with Norfolk. That they come here, they come to the tournament, but then they come back. We actually now have Rob Cross to come up, and he's going to talk about the next series of events that are happening. I would let Steve Kirkland, who is here, for a minute, and it's tough to reduce Steve to a minute, but there is a very good announcement about Carnival that I just wanted to make sure that Steve was able to present.
Thank you. So we're excited about 2015. We've got about 19 ship calls over the next 7 months. And the highlight, of course, is the Carnival Splendor will be coming back. We'll be welcoming Carnival. Oh, there, wow. I don't have a fancy PowerPoint like John. So the Carnival Splendor will be coming on May the 11th. Very, very exciting, huge ship. So we've got about 50,000 cruise ship passengers this year. We're also excited to say that Carnival will be coming back in 2016. They're bringing another massive ship, 3,000 passengers, 1,000 crew members, 100,000 tons to bring those guests here. And these are the folks that are coming to our community. They're spending the night in our hotels. They're eating in our restaurants. They're getting on a ship and they're going to the Bahamas or they're going to Bermuda. It's important to know, though, that we also have the port of call traffic, which is really, really an important piece of it for us as well in terms of economic impact. And as we look at that cruise terminal and how to make it truly multi-purpose, We'll continue to focus also on experiences like the Dickens thing we did over the holidays and event rentals and all sorts of different activities for that terminal. So we're excited. Carnival's coming back. We've got them locked in for 2 years.
Very good. Thanks.
Marcus, can I make a suggestion
Sure.
with regard to, and I'm glad we're doing parking tonight, with regard to coordination with entry, with more exit than entry. When we have the cruise people leaving, people who've come in, they park their cars, and now they're leaving. Or when there are events, especially at the parking garage at the Marriott, getting out of there with the automated parking systems can sometimes be a disaster, and that's putting it very mildly. So maybe we can coordinate somehow to get some people in the parking booths on those occasions. I don't know how flexible parking attendants are, because I know that we downsized a lot of that department, but perhaps going forward, looking at how we can better coordinate to get people out of the garage. It shouldn't take 30 minutes to get out or more of the garage because of, heavy traffic. I don't know how that can.
Well, poor Marcus knows, because I hit him over the head on this all the time, but parking is such an important economic driver. And there were way too many instances with the MEAC where, even though we had event parking so that you pay a fee and you should be able to get out, we still had a quagmire of the people that had already parked before the event parking. We didn't have enough attendance there to just put that arm up and get those people out of there. One bad experience in a parking garage and people don't come back. I don't care how great the games are. And we have got to figure out that a fee for parking is nothing compared to the amount of money that people spend at games and restaurants and having a good experience. And we have got to do something about simplifying this for our citizens and our guests.
We totally agree.
And she's totally, I there are a lot of things that I just don't go to. When I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. And I don't want to sit in my car for 30 or 45 minutes once I've had my good time and, and then I'm ready to go. It just agitates the living daylights out of me. And so if that ending bad experience can be the one thing that makes people go, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going down there anymore.
Many of us have proposed that we should just put those arms up at 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And just go for it.
Well, I think
because the amount of people that are still there at 9 o'clock at night have spent much more in town eating and drinking and having fun than that final parking ticket.
And I think it's coordinating with even hotels like the Marriott when there's an event like the State of the City,
Especially.
that you do have a lot of people leaving at once.
Yeah. I
Luckily,
think that's one of the
snuck out.
garages that we need
You've
to.
got
early.
Norva, you've got, they're just,
Yeah.
and it's so hard to try to keep track of all those events that I just think we need to just let go.
Right, so as I introduced John, one of the lessons learned that I said during the MEAC was the parking. And so while we have made some strides with parking, like, free on-street parking on weekends and, being able to park longer after work, this is the next challenge that we have to start to tackle. Rob.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, members of council, and Mr. Manager. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to give you an update about the 2015 festival and some of the successes and exciting things that have already happened this year. As many of you know, we've expanded our education outreach program to year-round. So a lot of those events started back in October, November, and also our Attic series that we partner with 7 venues. We had our final concert this past Saturday night, and that's been a really successful series, moving that out of the festival period and moving it to a year-round series. We had 7 performances September through March this year for the Attics Jazz Series, and 6 of those 7 sold out in the small room that we turned into a jazz club. So I've invited Christine Fallis, our Director of Education and our Community Engagement Director, to be with us because so many of the things that have already taken place are part of her program. So we're going to kind of tag team as part of this presentation. So Christine, go ahead.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. So as Rob mentioned, we have a strong commitment at the festival to not just educating our students during our springtime festival, but year-round throughout the school year. So far this school year, we've already had 66 education events. We'll have over 90 by the end of the season. And as you know, we are a regional organization, but the majority of our events do take place here in Norfolk Public Schools. It's our goal that every student experience the Virginia Arts Festival at least once during his or her K through 12 school career. And in Norfolk, we are very proud to say that that is happening. Every fifth grader receives an in-school performance by one of our artists or comes to a student matinee, and every sixth grader attends the Virginia International Tattoo. We're very, very grateful for our coordination with the school system on making those events happen. So I just wanted to share a couple of highlights that have happened over this winter. We had a terrific event with our storyteller, Charlotte Blake Alston. She did a program for about 120 elementary schoolers in the beautiful new room on the 6th floor of the Slover Library. We were very excited to partner with the library, and we hope this is really the first of many events where we get to present in that beautiful space. We also hosted the Dance Theater of Harlem Ensemble for a week of education outreach. We are currently in the second year of a 3-year partnership between the Virginia Arts Festival, Dance Theater of Harlem, and the City of Norfolk. They presented a week of in-school performances, master classes, and workshops, concluding with a performance at the Attucks Theater. And one of the special parts of that residency is that we partner with the Attucks Teen Dance Company to do workshops with them, and also at 3 of their satellite locations that are in Title I Norfolk Public Schools. Another part of our education outreach is the Rhythm Project. We have 8 total ensembles, but we're very excited that we have, over the past year and a half, launched 2 in the Young Terrace neighborhood. So we have every 5th grader at Tidewater Park Elementary playing in the ensemble as part of their school day. And then they can carry on with that program if they choose once they go to Ruffner Academy at an after-school program there. It's our hope that these kids will stick with that program throughout their schooling career and then eventually be able to audition for our All-Stars group that gets to do performances all over the region and often out of state as well. So the next thing we're going to talk about are some of our public events that will be happening during the festival, and also a new initiative that we have. Our Beyond the Concert Hall initiative aims to present arts outdoors. We want to make Norfolk feel more vibrant, and we want to make it feel more festive during our festival season. And this serves 2 main purposes. One is that if you are a ticket buyer for a festival performance, you're going to have a fuller, richer experience by having some extra activities around that concert. And then more importantly is that we know that in the city of Norfolk, not everybody has the means for traditional concert going. So by providing these free outdoor events, we're really opening up the festival to people who may not have experienced it before. So our first event for Beyond the Concert Hall will be our opening night of the festival. We are partnering with Tidewater Community College and Downtown Norfolk Council to throw a block party on Granby Street from 5 to 8 p.m. We'll be shutting down the street from Freemason to Market. We'll have live entertainment out there, including a band, BioRhythmo, which is a Latin fusion ensemble that was recently featured on NPR's Tiny Desk concert. And then we'll move into the Roper Theater at 8 p.m. for the public performance of Ballet Hispanico. Their mission is to explore, preserve, and celebrate Latino cultures through dance. And so we're very excited to have them as our opening night.
And then on Saturday night, also in the Roper Theater, Roseanne Cash will be joining us. For those of you that follow the Grammy Awards this year, I think she won 3 Grammy Awards this year. The festival has worked with her a couple of times. She's an amazing artist, and it's great to welcome her back and to see her in such an intimate space.
And then the following day, Wynton Marsalis will be returning to Norfolk. We're very excited that he'll be returning, but even more so, we could definitely fill Chrysler Hall with this performance, but he has been very gracious to agree to do 2 performances in the Attucks Theater instead. We feel like there's such value in presenting him in the historic Attucks Theater that day, so there'll be 2 performances. And then another part of our Beyond the Concert Hall initiative will be our Addicts Community Day. We're going to be turning the vacant lot that's southwest of the Addicts Theater into a park for the day and have music out there from 2:30 to 6:30. We'll be featuring some of our local youth programs, such as the Rhythm Project I already spoke about. Also, Teens with a Purpose, whose community center is over on Church Street. We'll have the NSU Jazz Ensembles performing, the Chosen Few Gospel Ensemble, and capping it all off with the Fuzz Band. They are all graduates of Hampton University, but they've really blown up in the past couple of years and have been touring all up and down the East Coast. So I think it'll be a really fun way to conclude that outdoor day that we're having. We're going to have food vendors. We're going to have a kids' corner out there with activities for them. And I think this is a really important move for the festival because we love downtown and the things that we do, but we're really invested into spreading what we do into other parts of the community as well. And we've been working with NRHA, Recreation Parks and Open Spaces, Department of Neighborhood Development, Special Events, and the Police Department to make that event possible.
Then we move into the second week of the festival, and again, continuing on trying to make the city feel more festive when the festival is taking place. We'll be using Chrysler Hall, the Robin Hickson Theater and the Virginia Arts Festival building, and the green space in front of our building next to Chrysler Hall. So the crazy thing you see on the left is Victoria Medley Major Tom. It's a one-woman, one-dog show, and it's a show I saw at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival 2 years ago, and it's hilarious. It's a true story. It follows the journey of Victoria Medley and her Basset Hound as she's getting ready for the Mrs. UK pageant, and the dog's getting ready for the Westminster Dog Show. So Major Tom will be here. We just got his papers, so he's going to be let into the country, and we got a visa for Victoria Medley. And if you remember 2 years ago, we had the fantastic group Australian Strange Fruit out in our green space. We're bringing them back for a week. They'll be out there doing a different production, and this is a show that happens at night because it needs to be lit. So as you exit Major Tom and the show we're doing at Chrysler Hall, you'll come upon this performance of Australian Strange Fruit. And then that week in Chrysler Hall, we have this amazing production of Bartók's Bluebeard Castle. It's the only opera that Bartók wrote. But the really thing that's spectacular about this is that Dale Chihuly, the great glass artist, built the sets for this opera. These beautiful panels you see here on the left, there's 6 of these that are on stage at Chrysler Hall, and that will be revealed as the opera goes by. We're partnering with the Chrysler Museum and the Virginia Symphony. And then Chrysler Museum is doing a Chihuly exhibit in the gardens at Chrysler Museum that will open prior to this production and will run several weeks into the festival. So again, this is one of those weeks that we know we'll be driving out-of-town visitation because there's 3 different productions they can see, whether it's Major Tom, Bartók's Bluebeard Castle, or the installation at the Chrysler Museum.
I'm sure you're all familiar with the Virginia International Tattoo, but we have another event that precedes that. This year we'll be having our 5th annual special audience night at the Virginia International Tattoo. We work with multiple organizations in the community to put this on, and it's an opportunity for people with special needs and disabilities and their families to come enjoy the performance in a very accepting environment. A lot of times people might not be able to make a public performance, or especially when we work with children with disabilities, it might be hard for them to sit through it. So we felt very strongly that we want to open this up for everybody to enjoy and to give some people a chance to see that might not get to otherwise. And we're also going to be adding a hullabaloo to Special Audience Night this year. We're partnering with Special Olympics and Untamed Spirits, which is a therapeutic writing group, to provide activities beforehand. And then the Virginia International Tattoo will take place April 23rd through 26th. We'll have 7 performances, 3 student matinees, and 4 public shows. And as I mentioned earlier, every Norfolk Public Schools 6th grader will be in attendance at one of the student matinees. And we will also have 12 visits from our tattoo groups out in Norfolk Public Schools. We're expanding the hullabaloo this year to be 3 hours prior. That features members of the tattoo cast as well as local performers. And I'm told this year will be the largest cast yet, with over 900 performers in the tattoo. And we'll be partnering with Australia, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, the Republic of Korea, United Kingdom, our United States military, and also with NATO for that event. A different type of event that we're doing for the Beyond the Concert Hall initiative is our Jazz and Wine Bar outside the Addicts Theater. We just want to do a lot of different types of outdoor events this year. It's purposefully designed so that there are different types of events that each has a different feel, which might speak to different people in different ways. So that will be one of our events, also trying to enliven the space around the Addicts Theater.
So in closing, I just want to, you'll start seeing lots of advertising for the festival. We're 3 weeks out from opening weekend. And in addition to the marketing you'll see here in Hampton Roads, there's also another entire layer of marketing that takes place out of market. As many of you remember, the Virginia Tourism Corporation is one of our partners and is a great supporter of that marketing plan. Last year we had visitors from 42 states and 7 foreign countries. Our ticket sales are tracking ahead of last year, both in market and out of market. Also, believe it or not, this is our 19th season, so 2016 will be our 20th season, so there's a lot of planning going into that to really try to blow it out for 2016. Some major new initiatives, both from a marketing standpoint and some programming. So thank you again for your continued partnership and support of the festival, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Sounds like you guys got to work it out for you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's good. Step.
Keith's working today. You paid the bill. There's 2 shoes hot today.
Well, good evening, Vice Mayor, members of council, and city manager. The members of the Norfolk Electoral Board have a new precinct relocation recommendation that we would like to review with you this evening. Currently, we are using Young Park Elementary School as a polling place, and our proposal is to move directly across the street, within a few feet, to the Young Terrace Community Center. The school had the polling place within the school, the auditorium gymnasium, has been converted into 4 classrooms, and that's what we had been using as our polling place on Election Day. Now, last November, we were able to use the cafeteria because the students were not in school that day, but going forward, this would be a problem. So Young Terrace Community Center is located directly across the street from the school, and this is our proposals to move across the street. The precinct name would remain as Young Park. We would just be relocating the polling place to Young Terrace Community Center. This would impact elections beginning this year. The community center has adequate space, amenities. It is ADA accessible with the ramp. It is within walking distance for the residents of Young Park, and it is located within the precinct lines. You will see the current number of registered voters within the precinct is 2585, and in 2012, the ballots cast were 1907. Of those registered voters, there are currently 2,380 active registered voters. We've reviewed the ADA compliance with the Cities of Norfolk's ADA coordinator. It has been reviewed with the supervisor of Young Terrace Community Center. We've talked with Recreation, Parks, and Open Space. And in the interest of council, we've gone ahead and gone out to the community in advance and talked with the civic leagues as well as members of the community at finance meetings that they held. So we've attended 3 meetings within this last month to speak with them. The citizens are excited. They're happy to move out of the schools, especially since the room has been converted to classrooms. And so they look forward to being in the community center because they use that for all of their meetings anyways. This is a picture of the outside of the community center, and you do see the ramp at the front entrance that we would use. And here's more pictures of the ramp, and we would be utilizing the gymnasium area. It's got plenty of space. They could walk right in and vote on the machines and be on their way. Now, notification is required for a public hearing and city council vote at formal session. We do have this tentatively scheduled for your meeting on the 28th of April. So we will be getting together with the city attorney's office to develop the ordinance for you. And of course, voter cards would be mailed to all registered voters with maps indicating the change in location if that is approved by council.
And this would be effective for the November 2015 election?
Yes, it would be for all elections this year. If there was a June primary that might affect it, we don't know if there's a primary election yet, but it would be for all elections beginning this year. Yes.
With the name change of Lafayette Winona, is that something that council has to approve as well?
That is actually on your agenda for this evening as
Oh,
a
it
formal
is? I
session.
missed it.
That is your last.
I was asking, I was
That
like.
is your last.
I mean, you're supposed to
I
read
know.
your agenda.
Well, no, I
did your homework.
I thought it was gonna be part of this presentation.
That does not require.
It just felt different,
Oh,
that's all.
goodness.
Yeah, that does not require a
Such an
public hearing.
I have a new boy
Blame
at
it on the
home. I get the
newborn.
newborn.
Blame it on the
Thing.
newborn.
A baby on the brain.
Five things.
Blame it on the newborn.
Yeah.
I wrote that for you.
Good, okay, well,
Yeah,
great.
so
I
that-
just wanna make sure it was being included.
Right, that's on your agenda this evening at the formal session. It doesn't require a public hearing. It's just a simple name change as the school, Tommy knows, it's his school. The
It's
school is
officially
being
been
changed.
changed, so I just wanna make sure that people know the name. The precinct name is still staying.
Lafayette Winona,
Right.
because that is the area
Right.
that the
Yeah.
residents reside in, but the name of the polling place proposed to change is Academy for Discovery. We can't fit the whole title of the school
We
on a voter card, so we've abbreviated Academy for Discovery.
Yeah, that's fine.
Gas would have been so much easier.
I know, gas would have been easier.
Little Einstein Academy would have been good too.
No.
Does anybody have any questions that we can address for you? Okay. Thank you very much.
For going to the community in advance.
Thank you.
I appreciate your proactive work.
We try.
Thanks a lot.
I think we get in trouble with
I thought we went over
Throwing us softballs. You didn't want anything hard. It's
Good
probably
evening,
the
Vice
shortest
Mayor,
agenda
members
I've
of
ever
council, and city manager. I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible. It's a huge subject, and I've kind of condensed it down. So if I oversimplify, please forgive me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have as we go. The clicker. Magic clicker. So tonight I want to provide a very brief description of SIPSA operations, how they work, and then update you on the developments related to planning for managing solid waste after the current use and support agreement expires in 2018. So this is a very condensed history of SIPSA. They started in 1976 with the 8 member localities. In the 1980s, SIPSA really spent a lot of money. They built a landfill in Suffolk. They built or acquired 9 transfer stations, and they bought a lot of equipment. And all of this, or most all of it, was debt financed. They also built a refuse-derived fuel plant and took over operation of a power plant that the Navy had built a few years before. 2008, the downturn hit. It forced SIPSA to really cut costs, lay off staff, and restructure debt. Continuing with that, in 2010, they sold the RDF plant and power plant as a group, the waste to energy plant, they're collectively called, to Wheelabrator for $150 million, and they took that money and paid down their debt pretty substantially. In May 2013, Council passed a non-binding resolution supporting negotiations with the other member localities to work on a new use and support agreement. This shows you, and it's got one typo, I caught it, of course, just before I came up here, but we've got the 8 member localities, and the little blue pens show the locations of those 9 transfer stations I mentioned that SIPSA either owns or leases. And those, as it turns out, are very valuable because to try to site a new transfer station today, you're going to get a lot of NIMBY. Citizens just don't want them in their neighborhoods, so those are worth gold. This is a simplified picture of what happens to the waste when you put it out on your curb. Harvey's crews pick up the green can over there on the left in his trucks. He takes it over to Woodland Avenue to Norfolk's transfer station. The waste is sorted, and then it is carried, most of it is taken to the waste to energy plant. That's where they separate it. Then they take the processable waste and they run it through the energy plant, and they sell steam to the Navy. That's the energy coming out of the top. And then the metals that they recover go to a metals recycling company, and the ash goes to a landfill, either the SIPSA landfill or another landfill. TFC, of course, is the city's vendor for handling recycling. And then to keep costs down, our green waste, we send it to, I think it's United Waste at this time. It's a lot cheaper to do it that way than to send it to SIPSA. And this photo here just shows the current operations of the landfill. The cells that are being filled right now are cells 5 and 4, or 5 and 6. Down here, cells 1 through 4 are already filled. Cell 7's ready to go. In the future, we already have the conditional use permit approved for that. I put this up here. It's a lot of numbers, but it's simply to show you. We'll have discussions as we go on what to do post 2018. But this slide is very important because it shows you if we send all of our waste straight to the landfill and don't process it down to a smaller quantity, we start filling up the landfill pretty quickly. So this is the amount of waste that all SIPSA members sent in 2014. It's about 262,000 tons to the landfill. So you can see, just say we're at 300,000. So cells 5 and 6 that we're currently filling will fill up in 2026. Then we'll have to jump over to cell 7. If we send everything to them, to the landfill straight away and don't cook it down, because this number represents, that's what's the ash and some non-processable waste and construction demolition debris. If we sent all the waste, we're looking at about 800,000 tons. So you jump way down, you can see we'll fill up cells 5 and 6 real fast. Cell 7 will fill up pretty quickly. So we just use up the landfill very quickly. So we'll be referring back to this slide a lot as we talk.
So is the number, in 2008 you had over 1 million tons and now
Yes.
you're down, is that because of the compacting of waste and the separation and everything, the more efficiency?
Well, I talked to Bucky Taylor, and he's the general manager of the operations right now. And I asked him, I said, Bucky, how did you go from 1.1 million in 2008 down to 100,000 in 2011? He said when he got there in 2008, they were sending almost everything straight to the landfill. He said this was crazy because we had this nice waste-to-energy plant we weren't utilizing. So he started really changing the operations, changing staffs, changing processes. So it's become a lot more efficient. So the SIPSA today, it's governed a little differently than it used to be. The governor appoints someone from each member locality, and for Norfolk, that is Don Williams, a former city council member, and then I am the representative from the locality itself. And we serve with the new laws, House Bill 1872. Each member can serve 2 4-year terms, consecutive 2 4-year terms. The current operating agreements have the member localities paying $125 a ton. That is a very expensive item for the city. Suffolk currently pays no tipping fees. Wheelabrator has a put or pay agreement, which because we've done recycling and people are just throwing away a lot less stuff than they used to, sometimes we have to pay a little extra because we don't send enough to Wheelabrator. So we have to pay a put or pay agreement. Private haulers currently pay less than member localities do. And
When you say private hauler, what do you mean?
Waste management, private company. There are quite a few of them around that, like apartment complexes use to pick up their dumpsters. So they pay less than the member localities, but they still use our transfer stations. And then the other interesting thing is any member locality can use any transfer station. So sometimes Virginia Beach, when they're collecting over on the west side of the city, they'll bring their waste to the Norfolk station, and Chesapeake does the same thing. One of the great things for Norfolk, we're one of the few cities that has this, citizens can have free drop-offs on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. I looked at all of the different transfer stations on SIPSA's website. We're one of the few that has that. That's a great service for our citizens. And just to put this in perspective from a budget standpoint, in FY14, Norfolk paid SIPSA $7.6 million in tip fees. That's a lot of money. The chief administrative officer started thinking about post 2018 2018 SIPSA a long time ago. I think as far back as 2008, they hired SCS Engineering to start evaluating different scenarios, look at every possible way that the cities could dispose of their solid waste in the future. And they looked at everything. There was nothing off the table. They really got serious between May 2012 and February 2013 and really started zeroing in their focus on these key items here. And after looking at all the different permutations of how to go, they all agreed that a cooperative regional approach, something like SIPSA, is the best approach, because to site a landfill in your city or do anything individually is just very difficult. The other key point is that SIPSA's accumulated a lot of debt. One of the things they've done over the last, since 2008, is start paying down that debt, really managing their money well. Their staff's gone from like 411 people to 144. They're really managing their costs. By 2018 will be paid off, and we're going to be very averse to debt going forward. So it's a high value asset with those transfer stations and the landfill.
So Richard, to put into perspective, the 125 tip fee to some extent is a reflection of the debt that's being paid off.
A lot of that is paying down that debt for some decisions that were made a long time ago. So as you start talking about what are we going to do with the waste in the future, you have unlimited options, but you can cook them down to three things basically. You've got the landfill only option, which I mentioned before when I showed you that slide with all the numbers on it, that if you send everything to the landfill, you fill it up quickly. It's cheaper though. It's the cheapest option. Landfilling is still cheaper than almost anything else out there. If you start looking out of the area, the transportation costs become very significant. Waste to energy plant, which is what we have right now with Wheelabrator, something like that technology, it reduces the waste down to a much smaller quantity. You produce energy and some recyclables from it, so it's considered environmentally sound, and it expands the life cycle of our landfill that we already own. Newer technologies have been used in Europe for years. They're just catching on in the US. So it's something that's still evolving here, and it definitely would extend the life cycle of our landfill. A lot of them claim to put out very little waste product at the end. They recover everything they can and recycle. So going back to the CAO's technical committee, when they were looking at what to be considered, these are all the discussion topics that as you look at a new use and support agreement, you've got to consider all these things. The number one item on there that I think most cities, localities agree on it, equal tipping fees for all members. And that would include Suffolk. You know, they right now pay no tipping fees, so we want everyone to pay the same. We're on an even playing field. Now, all this is being negotiated still.
Right.
And then long-term debt, as I mentioned, we're all very averse to signing on for any long-term debt. And then the SIPSA board membership and governance. So this is what Norfolk supports. We try to keep our message very simple. We support equal tipping fees for all members. We want private haulers to pay at the same rate as SIPSA members, and there's been talk among some members they ought to pay a premium because we have all the assets. We're doing a lot of the overhead for them. We support some type of host fee for Suffolk. The number that's been floated around is $4 a ton, but we don't like the idea of a minimum. Suffolk has floated the idea that they want to, it's like that putter pay, they want a $1 million minimum per year. But because we're looking at different technologies, we don't know what we're going to be sending to the landfill in years ahead. We support landfill expansion to include Cell 7. We already have the conditional use permit for that. We also want to consider, for Norfolk especially, long-term resiliency in deciding the best disposal option. And at the end of the day, we want to explore all disposal opportunities to achieve a financially long-term benefit to member localities and reasonable cost for our citizens. So this is the timeline that SIPSA came up early in the process when they started zeroing in on how we're going to get the post-2018 SIPSA. So rather than waiting till the last minute like we all did in high school and college where you got to write the paper the night before, the CAOs had already been working on this. So all the SIPSA board members
laid this out and we started talking about what do we got to do to get the decision early so that people can plan financially how much it's going to cost to get rid of our trash. So the great thing about this schedule is we've stuck to it. One of the things that's happening is I've been on the Use and Support Committee, so we started meeting back in November. Tomorrow, which is this draft new Use and Support Committee, is going to the SIPSA board. At tomorrow's SIPSA meeting, we are presenting that. We've finished the draft. I've had Adam Melita looking at all the drafts that have come out. He's been commenting along the way, so I feel like no one will be too surprised in Norfolk about what comes out. The other thing that happened was they put an RFP out. SIPSA kind of took a left turn on this. At first, they were just looking at their operations. Then they thought, let's just open the spectrum up to anybody that wants to come in with any technology. We're looking at price. So we had 3 presenters come in on February 12th. They did their presentations. What we found out, though, we couldn't compare one price to the other because there were a lot of unknowns and questions we had. So the executive committee has been working with those vendors to kind of get their prices a little tighter so that when we bring it to the CAOs, they're really looking at a pretty good price. So we feel like that's important. And the CAOs are going to be brought in April. We think around April 22nd or so. Marcus, you'll be getting back involved, but what we wanted to do is cut out a lot of the upfront stuff so that y'all have a very tight use and support agreement to look at and a pretty tight bid. So after you all make your changes, then it's going to go out to public comment to the communities, at least for the use and support agreement. So after that happens, this timeline's a little strange because it doesn't totally line up. But the communities will actually execute the new use and support agreement for post-2018 in August of 2015. The decision in October of 2015, there'll be 2 decision points. So we'll either award a contract for waste disposal post-2018 to one of these vendors, or maybe a combination thereof, or we'll decide we don't like any of the options and we'll just decide to send everything to the landfill. So we have a lot of flexibility. We don't feel like we're backed in the corner. We feel like we're in a very good position. So I think I've already been over a lot of this. We had the February 12th closed session. One of the things the SIPSA board did that I thought was very wise, they hired HDR Engineering to do some technical analysis of the technologies proposed by one of the bidders, and SCS engineers to look at landfill operations. So the next steps, as I said, we're presenting the draft use and support committee to the board tomorrow morning. SIPSA board's continuing to look at the 3 proposals. CAOs will be brought in. We'll get some community input. We'll finalize the use and support agreement by May 2015. By October 2015, we'll decide which way we're going to go, and we'll have some cost. We will know how much it's going to cost post-2018 to dispose of our solid waste.
Does everybody pay the same now except Suffolk? Because Virginia Beach up with us now.
Virginia Beach is paying less. It gets very down in the weeds quickly, but essentially they're paying about $65.39. On the books, they pay the full rate, but to meet GASB standards, they give them a rebate. And in 2014, that rebate amounted to $7.8 million. And that had to do with the fact that we were sending ash to the Virginia Beach landfill at one point. So what SIPSA did to minimize their exposure, they paid them $9.5 million to absolve them of any future liability for that landfill or any post-closure. So that actually, I think from a business standpoint, that was probably a good thing to do. But that rebate also has to do with that agreement that they made, and it was called the Ash and Residue Agreement, and I believe it was signed in 1985 or 86.
Remind me about the governance of the body. Is it 1 vote per locality?
Correct.
So you and Don have to agree? I mean...
Yes, and we typically do.
Okay, and he's going to the meetings with you and we're well represented? Okay.
Yes.
So when it comes down to this, at the end, we get to be briefed on this and tell you how, okay, if we're all still here.
I wish I could tell you about the bidders, but I can't because it's all confidential.
Gotcha.
I even
Right.
checked
Yeah, I
with their
understand that.
lawyers
Make
to
it
see what I
October.
could tell you.
I was going to say, is there something you know that we don't know about?
Something going on?
It was a joke.
Green, you mentioned green waste. What do you mean by green waste?
Limbs, lawn clippings, leaves,
Okay.
and we compost those, or United Waste compost those.
The free dumping on the weekend is really great too.
Yes.
Yeah, when we remodeled my bathroom, we took advantage of that. That was good.
It's a great thing. I did learn the hard way though. If you have a rental van or something that says, you know, it's a rental, you're going to pay $25. I didn't know that. I showed up and they said, rental. I said, I'm on the SIPSA board and I didn't know that. So they got me. That was pretty funny. Yes.
When you say that, like Virginia Beach, they can, if they're closer to Norfolk, they'll, what's the impact on Norfolk if they decide to bring it to us? Is there any impact?
The lines get longer.
Or just that?
Right.
Okay.
The lines get longer.
We're done.
We don't play the sympathy check.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
And then our last update is from David Freeman. I believe one of the ordinances tonight, you'll cover that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Vice Mayor Williams, members of council, Mr. Manager, good evening, first of all. This presentation, I'm going to cover a lot of ground. I'm going to cover it fast because I know I'm kind of out of time and I know you've got a closed session very soon. So I kind of talk
We got
fast.
20 whole minutes. We don't.
Oh, we don't? Okay.
No, you don't tell people that. You understand that, right?
There goes your shot at me.
Yeah. You just blew it, Angela.
You're out.
You're out.
You might not even be vice mayor.
I won't take the whole
We
20
can't
minutes.
take the
I'll keep things rolling. People love their technology, they love their gadgets, they love the environment, they love their car, and most of all, I think, Dr. Whibley, they love their convenience. So I think we heard you loud and clear. So this presentation this evening is to highlight the technological advancements facilitated by the Department of General Services under the auspices of a well-managed government. There we go. And that are also about to come online during the month of April. So these are things you're going to be seeing next month. And so there's some messaging and other components that need to occur. And it will occur over the coming days in a couple of weeks or so. General Services Divisions of Fleet Management. And in fact, we have our fleet manager here, Mr. Facunda Tessara. He's been on board for a few months now. He's doing an outstanding job, and we love him to death. So Bart New, who's our parking director, could not be here this evening, so he's out of the state. So, but it's a partnership between fleet management and a parking division about the electric charging stations that I'm about to talk about in the next couple of minutes here. So we're excited about this project. The city had received electric charging vehicle stations to make it part of a network, a national network of charging stations across the country. As you can see here, and there's actually another one in here in D.C., Washington, D.C., so Norfolk will join that network of charging stations all along the East Coast and across the country. There are numerous benefits that come along with an electric vehicle, owning one. Reduce greenhouse gas emissions. It encourages a cleaner renewable energy, enhances the public charging infrastructure system. It also incentivizes those to purchase an electric vehicle. And there's also some branding issues that it makes Norfolk a destination for electric vehicle owners. Supports a growing nationwide fast charging network. So the actual charging stations that we're getting are fast charging stations. I mean, you hook them up, and within 30 minutes, your electric vehicle is 80% charged. I was also informed today that we'll have 3 come April, and then what happens is we out of 140 of these across the nation, we have 3 of 140 of these specific type of charging stations, and which they have they have 2 different types of nozzles, if you will. So they have a wider breadth of electric vehicles that can be recharged. This gives you an example of what one looks like. And if you get an opportunity, that we have one mounted right now in the scope, if you get a chance to take a look at it. How do we get the charging stations? We got them from the Virginia Clean Cities, partnering with them. We were able to secure 3. As I mentioned before, these are fast charging. These are level 3 charging stations, meaning that they're like the top of the line when it comes to charging stations. And I think I already mentioned the nozzles, but price tag wise, they're about $43,000 each. So we didn't have to pay for them; they're for free. So just want to make sure I mentioned that. So got some budget people in the room. The charging stations feature a 30-minute charging time. As I mentioned, they're 80% charge. I mentioned the 2 plug types. They're easy to use. They got touch screen controls with directions on how to use them. They also have LED indicators and emergency stop switches on them. The one that I mentioned that we already have, if you want to take a look at, it's actually located in the scope. It was like a pilot project to give us opportunity to get one in, see how it worked and so forth, and we actually found they're relatively simple to work on. So we actually have maintenance people that can actually service those. We have electricians, so they basically would be easy to maintain. So we're really excited about that. We're also in discussions with ODU, so at some point in the future, I don't want you to think we're just going to stop with the 3 stations. If there's an opportunity to add more, we're going to look at that, but we're going to continue to study how we're doing with these 3 that are coming online in April. This is, again, the one over in Scope. It gives you an hour of complimentary parking. You come on in and charge your vehicle right on up, and at the end of the hour, you got to, of course, leave so somebody else can bring their electric vehicle in and so forth. And so now, again, we put that in without any marketing. There's no marketing. We hadn't done PR at this point. That is coming, and so that's why we're rolling it out in April. Okay, getting into the locations, as I mentioned, the Scope was one of them. Another location is over in MacArthur. Specifically, the location is going to be on the north side, level N1, aisle B. You'll see the N1B that's on the pillars and whatnot. That's where the charging station location will be. The platform and the conduits have already been located in there, so it's merely just a matter of plopping it down and hooking it up and testing it out. So that'll be occurring very shortly. Next location is at Pretlow, Councilman Smeagol, and so that one's pretty easy to locate. 111 West Ocean View Avenue. It serves the Ocean View community as well as others. It's an excellent highway access for those continuing on with 64. General Services is also working on a way to wayfinding signage leading to and distinguishing electric vehicle parking spots from regular spots in parking garages. Additionally, we will be registering Norfolk locations on many of the websites that feature electric vehicle networking charging station locations nationwide. So there are various sites that you can go on that will tell you where the stations are, these charging stations, and you can plot your destination. And so that's one of the part of the wayfinding package that we're working on in terms of not only just physical signage, not only just pavement markings, but also getting on the internet because people love their gadgets, so, and they love technology. So we hope to have Norfolk as part of that destination there. Okay, this just gives you some of the ideas of some of the things that we're doing here. What's not actually mentioned is we have a compressed natural gas site also located at the Fleet compound as well. So we're serious about greening up. So I did want to take this opportunity to thank Facundo Tesaro, the fleet manager. I know he worked very closely with Bart New, and also I wanted to mention Jim Wolfert with MacArthur for their cooperation in making this happen. So every now and then a window opens up, an opportunity opens up, and you're able to take advantage or take opportunity to get something that's really nice for the city. And I think this is a prime example of that. So I wanted to make sure I publicly thank them for their hard work and bringing home the bacon, so to speak, to Norfolk. So,
David, I think it's perfect timing that you put a picture up of the mayor's new vehicle after the article ran.
I'm not touching that.
Actually, his vehicle comes with big bumper. It's going to be bubblegum.
No, that's not nice. It's not often he's not here, so we'll take advantage of that.
My husband thinks I'm a great
It's a
driver
Yugo.
now.
Switching gears, as a convenience to our many valued customers, coming in the month of April as well, the parking division is pleased to announce that we'll have a program called Norfolk Mobile Pay. Norfolk Mobile Pay enhances existing parking meter system. There's no need for cash. You'll receive reminders when parking is to expire. It adds time remotely. It tracks payments and prints receipts from the website, and it secures the payment method. Our local businesses can play an important role as well in Norfolk Mobile Pay. Merchants may subsidize their parking through validation system to increase awareness and foot traffic to their business. May subsidize any amount of their parking fee for their customers if they wish. Merchants sign themselves up and manage their own accounts. And so I know Bart New, again, as our parking director, he's been working very, very closely with Marion Company and the DNC. I think he's been out there making presentations and taking the show on the road to talk to them to roll this out. So I may not have enough time to get into all the details, but I want to let you know that they're working on those details behind the scenes and so forth, and with the businesses and so forth on this. Passport is our vendor that we're working with. We think that's a good vendor to pull this off, that's going to make this customer friendly. And so we're really excited about that. Again, that's going to be taking shape in April. So again, there's going to be some messaging with DNC, with others to roll this out, and expect to see that coming probably by mid-April. And so, but we want to make sure we get with all of our partners on the timing on that, as well as any messaging particulars we need to wrap up. Another thing that parking division is working on, that Bart's extremely excited about. I got to get him calmed down sometimes. He gets really excited about this stuff. Our meter network throughout the city, we're going to be converting all of our meters to smart meters. And you probably say, David, what the heck is a smart meter? Well, basically, the parking world out there, what they did is we use the same meter housing, if you will. They lob off half of it, and what they do is they put this computer up there. And so what this does is allows you to utilize coins, credit cards, debit cards, prepaid cards. It has reporting capabilities, and it tracks things such as revenue. It'll tell us all kinds of information, and it's wireless. So that's one of the things that we don't have with the meters that we have right now that are not so smart. So basically, you just have, they're full of quarters, and you've got to, extrapolate data based on how many quarters you have. But with these smart meters, it'll give us real-time data in terms of parking trends and things like that that'll help us better plan and look at things in a strategic
Will it
fashion.
be like the Amtrak meters that tell you if you're about to exhaust the amount you've deposited?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And can you still give your time away? So like if I parked and I paid for an hour and I only used 30 minutes, can I give my space away to somebody else? Or is it just a per car, paid per car?
I've got to check with Bart on that. There may be little technicalities here or there, but I think that once you pay, it's up there. So I don't think that it has a device on it that registers when you actually leave out of there. So I've got to check with them on that. Now, that same company that deals with that, there's this device that you can, it's like a hockey puck that you're able to put in the ground that can identify, and this is like the phase 2 of it, that can identify a vehicle, whether a vehicle is there or not. That same vendor deals with this. So when we embark upon this and complete it, we're looking at installing that device that will let us know if there's somebody in that spot. And so that's the next layer of technology. So, okay, another thing that Bart's excited about is we have at no cost to the customers, by the way, so I'm mentioning this, no cost to the customers for this. There's a one-time cost to us. It's a wayfinding app. It'll basically, and I know I heard council talk about this when Bart was up here making a presentation a few months back,
that if it would be really nice to find out in terms of capacity in the garages. Is a garage fill, so maybe I can go to another garage. So he's working on an app that will let you know the capacity of the garage. Is a garage filled? Maybe you need to go to the next one. So there is an app that won't cost anything to the customer, and it's a one-time startup cost for the city. But what that will do is make it real easy because we have counting mechanisms, and what it does is it dovetails off those counting mechanisms in the garage. So every time somebody goes in, it counts and it lets us know when it reaches capacity. So I don't want to get into all the particulars, but our vendor WPS will work with our IT system, and the system is actually called Parkipine. It's supposed to be painless parking. So and then that the Parkipine system coordinates with the app, which is on the mobile device. Okay, wrapping up, the enhancements to Norfolk's commitment to environmentally technologically friendly initiatives. We're going to continue with doing these things, and we're going to keep coming in front of council as we get, as we finish some of these and as we move forward to adopting some more technological advancements. So we want to keep that going. We're also concerned about customer experience. And when they give us feedback with good ideas, we're excited about moving those things forward. And we also want to enhance the service that's provided in Norfolk and enhance our operation. And again, as the manager mentioned, we have an ordinance that's going to be on the docket tonight, so your favorable consideration of that ordinance will be greatly appreciated. So any questions or comments? And I didn't use up the whole 20 minutes. So.
Thanks, David.
Good job.
And Madam Vice Mayor, members of council, I did want to mention that I had a conversation with President Broderick this morning. You do know that ODU did advance last night in terms of the NIT, and he'd love to have as many of the council members as possible to come out tomorrow night. They're going to be playing Murray State, and it would be it's nice to celebrate that we're having some university that's in the city that's still dancing right now.
There's a couple in North Carolina still playing.
Yeah,
we don't
we're going
care.
to focus right now.
We don't care about it.
And that's all we have.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we've got 5 minutes. Let's do it.
It's general admission. So we sat behind the Illinois State crowd. There were about 30 folks that drove down from Normal, Illinois. And so consequently, because we are